revealed. He's referred to sometimes as like King Saul was as a nechba bein hakelim. You know, when they came to seek out King Saul to make him a king, he was so humble, which was actually his downfall in the end, which is quite interesting. He was hiding amongst the vessels. He didn't want to be found out. That's how they described the Gaon, the Vilna Gaon. He wasn't interested. He was nechba bein hakelim. So that was, he never sought anything. He was exceeding and hardly taught publicly until he was 40. When he was 40, he taught, but even after 40, it says that he mainly taught, he never wrote anything in revealed Torah until he was 40. I'm going to mention something, a whole lot of interesting things about him. Now, how did he survive? How do you, right? You have to make a living. You have to make a living at the end of the day, right? Like the story of the yeshiva bocher goes to his father-in-law. His father-in-law says, how are you going to make a living? He says, Hashem will, God will provide. He says, since when has my name changed? Okay. Right? So the point is that a person has to make a living. So how's he going to make a living? So there was a communal fund that was set up. Apparently it was set up by the Barak. Now it's very interesting. He permitted himself to take a small amount from this communal fund to keep himself and his family going. There's a fascinating story about this, which I'm going to tell you in a little while, which shows a little bit about the character of this great man. But that's how he supported himself. There's a bit of a question that some ask, because he clearly didn't hold like Maimonides. Maimonides would never accept communal funds and live on them. He would never do that. So he didn't hold like Maimonides. So either he differed with Maimonides. Some others suggest that seeing as though the Barak who founded it, most of the principal, it was some kind of a hedge fund. It was some kind of an investment fund. And most of the principal came from the Barak which was his relative. So that some said that that's what he realized. He made, so he set up, this Beit Midrash was set up for him, and that's what I mentioned. He wasn't he was the rabbi of the Beit Midrash, but it was set up for him. And as I said, that the Gaon of Vilna survived purely on communal funds. Okay. Now, let's have a look. This is very, very interesting, his greatness. Now, this is very important to realize, and I'm going to explain that there is a unique, different kind of leadership styles. And there are different ways that a person can have influence in the world. And this is a fascinating, fascinating thing. You have, for example, I mentioned of Shimshon Hirsch. He actively went out there and built communities. He was a great, great scholar, don't get me wrong. But his influence was like that. Other people have a different way of influencing. And the Gaon, the Vilna Gaon, is a model of a certain Jewish leadership influence that became a model for, in a sense, Lithuanian Jewry up until today. And I'm going to explain the model in a moment. But let's first understand his greatness. He studied with tremendous intensity day and night. This was reported about him. He never wasted 1 second. Some say that he wrote every minute that he felt he didn't apply himself properly or he didn't learn to write. He wrote it in a book. And when it came before Rosh Hashanah, he used to repent and cry bitterly for every single minute of his life that he wasted. That's what they say about the Gaon of Vilna. Every minute. So by the Vilna Gaon, in fact it's reported, it's a well-known story, that his sister came from afar to visit him. He hugged her, he said hello, he asked about the family, and then he went to learn. So his sister was very upset. So his sister came to him, he said, listen, he hugged her again, he said, I love you very much. But he said, listen, I've got to give account to God one day for every single minute of my time. I can't just speak about, hello, how are you for, 10 hours. I can't do that. So that's okay, but he was on that level. That was the Vilna Gaon. It's not for you and me. Okay? Don't try that with your spouses or in any of your personal relationships. I take no responsibility for the ramifications. Okay. Now, he was so studious that in the daytime, he wouldn't open, I come into the office and I'm going to study, I'm going to prepare the class today. I open the shutter, let the sun shine in. The Vilna Gaon, he didn't want any distractions. He closed the shutters, he put on his candle, and he learned even in the day for hours and hours by candlelight. He used to learn, people that stayed by his house testified, he used to learn about 8 hours at night till the morning. He used to learn 8 hours, he used to learn through the night. He never slept more than half an hour in a stretch, for maybe 50 years. He used to learn 8 hours at night. He used to get up in the morning. He used to go daven. He used to learn his parsha for the week, his Shnai Mikra V'Echad Targum. Then he used to sleep for a while. I don't know exactly. He used to sleep for a while, and then he used to learn till Mariv. And then I used to carry on day in, day out. So he was a different league. Okay, I used to. I remember when I first went to yeshiva, when I first went to learn, and I'm a Baal Tshuva, right? So I only came to Judaism in my later years when I was 18. So I had a lot to catch up. Okay. So I figured I can't sleep too much. Right? And then during the day I found if I got less than 7 hours sleep, I wasn't concentrating properly. And one of my rabbis told me, he says, that's for the Vilna Gaon to cut sleep, not for you. Anyways, that was the end of that. Okay. Okay. So,
He should see you now.
sorry?
He should see you now.
So then he said, now he knew every aspect and detail of the written and oral law. He was better than an encyclopedia. He knew everything inside out. In fact, he was an expert in the Kabbalistic works, the Zohar, Tikkun Zohar, Kitva, Arizal, everything. He knew everything. But not only that, it's very interesting. From the age of around 40 years old, they say that when he used to learn, the only thing he had in front of him was the 5 books of Moses, and sometimes the Tanakh, the rest of the Bible. He only had the Bible in front of him, the written Torah. He never looked at the oral Torah anymore. You know why? Because he saw everything from the verse. He had the power. He connected it all. He could see the verse, and all of a sudden in his mind, he went through every single source in the oral Torah. It was just connected. It was one connection. Okay? So from the age of 40, it's well known that he used to hardly learn. He would sit with the Chumash in front of him because he knew everything else, and it would just go over and over and over the secrets.